Going live.
Off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. This is the premiere full-time at KCAA. You are listening to Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian Oprah. And my show is called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa every Friday. New time, prime time, drive time on my NBC News Radio channel, KCAA. That's AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere all the time. Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, you name it. I am here to splatter more hope and happiness over all of y'all because there's no gossip and no scandal and no K-words on this show. No Kardashian talk, no Kanye talk. I don't care if they're together or apart. It doesn't matter. What matters is your reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And to that end, I am here to introduce you to the format of this show because we've had this wonderful thing happen called a new show that the studio came to me and said, how would you like to host a competition show? And the competition show is our version of The Voice, and it's called The Host. So we started that competition a month ago, and we had the actual audition last week, and we had 6 wonderful contestants, and then we had a tie. Well, I even had like a scale of numbers that we all added up in the 2 ties. So I convinced the station to double the prize package worth $4,400 each. So as a result, my first official show is going to be, well, actually last week I think was the official show, and we had the auditions. So we're melding the shows, and today I have the winners, and I already had them on the screen. I forgot to take them off, but here we go. They're coming on now. Please welcome to my studio the 2 winners of the premiere episode of The Host, and it is, there we go.
Hey.
Welcome, and a new format too. Shout out to my friends at StreamYard. They've been working with me all week, getting this little thing together, and my hair is messing up here. So I'm streaming, obviously, thanks to COVID. We're not in studio, and I get to, from the comfort of my living room, come to you with these 2 fabulous people who are going to launch their adventure in radio podcast land. Woo-hoo. So I am going to ask the 2 of you to point to the one who you want to have start the introductions. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's what I was hoping would happen.
Ladies first.
I was just about to say, Sara, why don't you start and introduce yourself? I'm going to put you on that 2-minute timer that you got in the audition, so you get used to this. And the reason why I have you both on, not just to congratulate you, as part of the package was coaching. And I could do this coaching in private, which is fine. But I thought, there's so much interest in people wanting and interested in becoming a radio host or a podcast host or a creator or producer, that I thought we would do this on the air so everybody gets the coaching and you guys are the victims. I mean, the guinea pigs. I mean, the people that won. So we could just go through this together. So thank you for playing with me. So we're going to put the 2-minute timer on now. And on your mark, get set, go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sara Wong, and just a long story short, my background is coming from consumer marketing, working in advertising corporate America for over 15 years. And I worked with new age technology ever since Xbox launched, from Kinect to augmented reality, virtual reality. And what I would create is content experiences to help bring brands to life, create experiential experiences like events or consumer experiencing samples, test drives, a lot of things with brands and marketing. And I fell in love with that and did it for so long and realized I would really geek out around anything technology and statistics in terms of how people were relating to videos, mobile, how they were watching the internet grow. And in that, really got interested in energy and started really with Tony Robbins. I walked on fire and started learning my energy and kind of how I relate to energy, and went on this spiritual journey, some call it. For me, it was a life journey. And in the last several years, over 4 years, have opened my own private business, left corporate America, and had a brick and mortar for several years, recently closed with COVID. And now I want to take all that knowledge and experience and how I shifted my consciousness each and every day with effortless ease, and just being aware of what's around me and what's real for me, and learning how to teach people for the last several years how to do that through energy, through intuition, through meditation, through even cooking. So it's been such a journey that I'm excited to bring all my partners involved and just share the knowledge and explore what's around us each and every day.
Beautiful. All right. Before we go, Penny, I'm going to give you a couple of notes.
Yes.
So just while it's fresh, it's fresh. So that was a 2-minute summarizing sort of your journey, and it was good. It was complete. Knowing that the average attention span of human beings right now, or Americans, I would say it's shorter for Americans, I think is 6 seconds. And a goldfish, they say, is 7 seconds. So the first, I would say, even 20 seconds, if you grab someone's attention with just a kind of summary and very pithy point. So let me give you an example for you. So I would say, hi, I'm Sara Wong, and I was married to corporate America, totally miserable, a geek without a purpose, and I knew there was more, got interested in the woo-woo, which actually helped expand my understanding of who we all really are. And I wanted to bring that as a message to the world. So that was 20 seconds. So then you can go into some of the more detail. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So that way I don't have to sit here and try to figure out what it is that I want to catch on to. So there's enough in that first 20 seconds for people to go, oh, I'm gonna listen to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
That definitely makes sense.
Okay, cool. All right, Kenny.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Ready? So,
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Kenny Barnwell, and I'm excited to be here with you because my story is a bit unique. I traveled the world with some of the top music artists for the past 18 years, getting to set up concerts and do event production. In fact, I got to write a couple of career development books and create some online courses to help others be successful in that space as well. And if you remember, at the start of the pandemic and the lockdowns and the shutdowns, the event industry was the first one to go. And so it kind of forced all of us to pivot pretty dang quickly, you know? And so what I've been able to do is realize that the concert business wasn't who I was. It was just what I did. And I was very successful at it. But a lot of people struggled with refining that purpose and really figuring out how to reconnect themselves with pivoting to something new, as most of us can relate to. And so through my journey in this pivot, I really wanted to be able to share the understanding that what you are and who you are is so much more than your work and your identity. It kind of reminds me of a bit of a story from Mike Rowe from Travel Channel. Was interviewing a guy that owned a Porta-John company, and he asked the guy, "Hey, is this your passion? Do you really love Porta-Johns?" And the guy's like, "No, to be honest with you, I'm good at it, and I've learned to be passionate about the work, but my passion is being a great husband and a great father to my daughters, and that's why I'm able to do something like run a Porta-John business." And so there are people like this all over the world as we had to pivot and repurpose that energy that, you know, we once had in thinking that our identity was what we did for work. So, yeah, passion and purpose go hand in hand when it comes to what we do and who we are.
great. Now, you had the benefit of hearing the feedback, right?
Yes, right.
Sarah's like, "This is not fair." You got it. But the thing that I would like to absolutely, and I should have started with something complimentary with Sara as well. So I'll just go back and say, Sara, you're so natural in your communication and very, you're not intimidating, you're nice, you're kind. That's really good. That's really good. Kenny, your modulation is really good. Like, you've got the whole, I'm talking to you, and there's changes in the tone, pitch, and volume, which are really good for radio if there's no pictures that anybody's looking at. So that's super important. So maybe, Sara, a little bit more of that when you're going through. I like the story that you told. Yes. And I can tell you're a little nervous because of the, so that'll, you know, don't worry about that. That will go away the more you do this. This is my 56th consecutive week on the air. People always ask me, do you get nervous? It's like, no, because this is what I do. Like, I eat food, right? And I love it. I still say every once in a while because I'm reaching for a thought. So the trick for broadcasters is we think we have to fill all of the airtime. So actually, we can take a breath between the thoughts, and it actually lets the listener hang a little bit before you go into the next. So most people use as fillers to give them a chance to think or to sort of settle down the nerves. So you can take that breath, or you can just stop and then continue. Does that help?
Yeah.
That's good.
It really does. You don't have an filter?
No, we do not have a dump for the Great. All right. So I am just seeing if we have any comments. So as they come in. I usually do my show at noon, so this setting sun business is kind of fun in the windows. So now that's great for your personal introduction. Now I want you to introduce your show. Now you did that in a 30-second commercial. So let's start with that. Do you remember your 30-second commercial from last week? You better. Because I'm going to ask you to do that 30-second commercial again. Both of you, I think one of the reasons why you won is the commercial that was worth more than the other parts of it. You had it right on. We're on time. You got it through. So don't make me look silly and not get your commercial right now. But the reason why we have 30 seconds is obviously the commercial spots are usually 30, 60, 90 for radio and for commercials. So that's why we're always like there. And we have a question from Kira. Hi, Kira. How has Zoom sound changed the use of voices? It seems harder to get empathy and inflections. So I was just complimenting both of them on the ways that they are different with voices because their expression on their face, it's probably, it's probably better to look more animated than less. And somebody's microphone is catching all of the rustling. So there we go. It was Sara. So what we want you to do, and here's another trick for radio people. I was taught this at the beginning. Before the 30 seconds before you come on, what did you notice I was doing behind the scenes?
I mean, being prepared, I imagine. Looking at notes.
Looking at time.
Yes. What was I doing though? You didn't see me on camera? Oh, you couldn't see me. I was doing this.
Yeah, you couldn't see you.
This is part of the answer here is when you are on camera and you're about to go on and your head is full of stuff that, oh, I got to say this, I got to say that. It matters a little less what you're saying than how you're saying it. So there's a communication model. I don't know if you've heard of this before. We've gotten 4 hearts already, 4 hearts and 3 thumbs up. Woohoo! There's a communication model. I used to teach managerial interpersonal communication at UCLA in the Anderson School. And the model is of 100% of communication is split up into 1 is tone, pitch, and volume. That's 40%. 40% of communication is tone, pitch, and volume. So we know tone, clarity of tone. So if you have a bad internet connection, bad. Do everything you can. If you're on Zoom a lot, invest in good equipment. I have an expander, an extender for my internet. Number 1. Number 2, tone, pitch. So pitch, you don't want to talk like this. This is pitchy, right? You want pure, clear voice. That's pitch. And volume. You don't want to be so loud that you're burning people up. But if you have to have people say, I can't hear you, it's not only disruptive to the group, it's disruptive to you because it's kind of like an insult. So that's 40% of your communication. 53% of your communication is this. So Sara, I would get a little more used to using your arms a bit. Kenny, you already got, I saw, your hands going on. That's good. Did you teach yourself that? Were you even practicing that?
I've taken some hosting classes with hosting coaches in Los Angeles.
Perfect. So that is also not too much. This is always the balance. So if you're all doing this, then people aren't watching. So, but if you're not doing anything at all, then they're bored. So we want to get that balance. The last thing is the content of what you're saying. Now, if you weren't doing the math just now, you would think that it's important, the content of what you're presenting, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we focus all of our attention. How am I going to say it? What the words are, what the content is. But guess what? Only 7% of the content, less than 7% is considered important in communication. Only 7. Why do we spend so much time trying to find the perfect words when 53% is body language and facial expression? So obviously in Zoom and pandemic, it's boobs up, right? So, chest up, okay. Don't get caught like that one guy. Never mind. So we want this whole thing to be as expressive as possible. And this is tougher for introverts or people who aren't naturally animated. It's easy for me. I know you thought I was shy, but I'm a Leo in 6 planets, so I can't help it but be very animated in the way that I move around. So here's the tip. I practice 100 hours in front of the mirror before I did my first show. 100 hours in front of the mirror. And if you don't like looking at yourself in the mirror, 200 hours. So this is really, really, really important. Now, here's the other thing, because of COVID, you see yourself a lot closer than if you were in a real studio. You're not looking at yourself. You're looking out, right? So with this, you're always looking at yourself. And you have no audience. Usually, if I'm in a studio audience, especially as a keynote speaker, I have the reactions there. I spoke to over 300 people at USC this week. No reactions at all. I can't see anybody except for the chat. And they were like, and I can't read and talk at the same time. So I would just basically not look at it. So this is a whole new ballgame with the pandemic. So anything that you're practicing in, it's even more.
Makes sense.
Yeah? Good. So content less, pitch, tone, and volume, 40%, 53% body language. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. So where were we? About the show. Sara, you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just enjoying this. I love it. This is great. I love it.
Okay, let's go to your show. And since I made Sara go first, Kenny, I'll make you go first.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh. We're ready? I'm sorry.
30 seconds. Ready and go.
Sometimes in our lives, we are forced to pivot and reinvent ourselves, forced to find a new job or a career. And during this shift, we've lost our identity. I'm here to share with you powerful perspectives about why your career is what you do, not who you are, and how you can pivot with purpose and bring who you are into anything and everything that you do. I'm your host, Kenny Barnwell, and this is Pivot with Purpose. Very nice. Right on the button. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So I have nothing to say about that. I would do that. Oh, good. Roll tape.
Yeah, roll tape, exactly. That's going to be your bumper,
Awesome.
know, and it describes the show. It interests people, especially now.
Yeah.
It's so important. Absolutely.
Good.
All right.
I really care about this topic, so.
Yeah, no, really? I can't stop. Well, I was going to suggest when you were introducing yourself, that because you're as a what's the label that you use? What you do? You were on the road, or you booked the booker. What's
Event production. It was production manager.
So, would anybody recognize one of your bands? Like, are they
all of them?
All of them. So I would.
Oh, yes.
I would drop names.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
So then, that's a real catcher for someone to go, oh my gosh, really? So any of that is good.
Okay, good.
And remind me to say something about that after Sara goes. Okay,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Go.
I'm Sara Wong, and I'm here to explore energy with you after serving thousands of clients working in corporate America with brands like Microsoft, Toyota, Nissan, learning about cutting-edge technology, but also exploring energy all around me, diving into the world of metaphysics, spirituality, and going deep in understanding my energy and how to leverage and benefit for others. So join me as we journey in.
Okay, good. I think you mixed some of my...
Yes. I totally was like, oh, maybe I can incorporate this, and I threw myself off. But you know what? I'm going to massage that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I really do like the feedback. I like intersecting it, and I do want to, because the topics I have are all playing into that, and I can't wait to dive into that. But yeah, so that kind of like, ooh, light bulb. So, I went for it, but there's more there. So, and that's what I would love your help with.
Thank you. So let's do that right now. So, let's see. So, how's your life energy right now? Are you tired all the time? Are you tired of being tired? Well, tune in to my show. What's the name of it?
Master your energy to master your life.
Master your energy to master
your life.
Your life with me, Sara Wong, your host, and you can leave your tired assets behind forever. How's that? That was 30 seconds. So now we don't want anything to do with corporate.
Yeah.
Now we want everything to do with what are you going to do for me lately? What is my show? So that 30-second catch, and I always coach on, you want to ask the question that people will literally stop and say, oh yeah, or, oh, how did you know? You reading my mind?
Right.
Or you just captured where I am right now? Like, how did you know? So finding that question that is as close of a link to where your show's gonna go, right? To satisfy or to scratch their itch for that question is what you wanna do. It has to be related, right? You can't say, I'm gonna solve all your problems or, give you like the financial solution to whatever. It has to be related to, that's why I picked energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking, you have no energy.
Yeah.
And so that's a $200 commercial right there. So did you write that down, or it'll be on the recording. It'll be on. That's good. Good. Okay. So questions?
Not from my end. I would just say I have a quick comment. I would say I love Sara. Your voice is awesome. I think it's so nice to listen to. And I would say I get it completely. It's a results-driven kind of problem solution intro. So it makes sense.
Beautiful. You want to pay him a compliment back?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ken. I feel like you're a brother from another mother. I just love it. You're so sweet and gentle.
I know.
I love you all. I'm just like, oh, this is mine. Like, this is the energy of New Earth. Welcome all.
No doubt.
I really appreciate that. And I've heard that a lot, and I'm excited to share my voice in new ways. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And I just wanted an aside here to let you guys know that when I announced you as the winners, and when I was, going through with my judges, and it was unanimous. So it wasn't like, wow. So that's a compliment to both of you, which is really good.
Well, thank you. Kudos to the judges.
Yes, thank you, judges.
I will let them know. They're listening right now. So they didn't want to be named in case, they got some hate mail. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's go to the chat line and see if the Kira at PBS, they taught me to keep my voice low because people believe and listen more intently. They said to pick 3 points you want to get across and bring the conversation or questions to these 3 points. Plus, the motto of producers was tell them, show them, tell them. Very cool. So that's a PBS tip. I would, low would be important maybe on camera on a show, but when we're on Zoom and now there's so many distractions, I would err a little bit more on the not so low. I just think that it's a little more circumstantial, but I'm not going to argue with PBS. But thank you so much, Kira, for the points, for sure. I'm glad that she brought up the 3 points. So when I gave your feedback, Sara, earlier for the 2 minutes, I don't think either one of you are what I would call indirect speakers, but it's a good coaching. I do this with all of my hosts at the beginning because the host, and I made this mistake myself, the host usually errs on the side of talking too much. And my first, I would say 100 shows, I was a little nervous. I was a little, oh my gosh, the level of these people that I'm interviewing and, am I worthy of interviewing them? Am I going to come across looking stupid? And so I erred on the side of saying too much. And I have nice, beautiful, negative, horrible comments on many of my first shows on YouTube to that effect. And I had to take it, and, you learn. You learn the hard way. Unfortunately, sometimes you learn more by trial and error than anything else. So when you're hosting, are you planning on having guests?
Yes.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. So the beginning is when, and this is an evolution, when I used to introduce my show, you saw my introduction was what? Maybe a minute, 2 minutes max. Mm-hmm. It used to be 15 minutes. So embarrassed. So if you go back to my really early shows, it's like you can fast forward for 15 minutes. But I wanted everybody to understand. And this is where indirect speakers and direct speakers are people who get straight to the point, right? And they tell it like it is. And a lot of times they're brutally honest, right? They're well-meaning, but they're sometimes more mean than well. And when they speak, there's blood all over the ground. Okay? So that's a direct, and countries differ in the way they're indirect or direct. It's a cultural difference in the way they describe things. So for many, and lots of people in leadership tend to be direct speakers. And the good news about direct speakers is they get straight to the point, so it's pretty quick. The bad news about direct speakers is there's blood all over the ground. They have no idea. The most important to them is to get the message out. They really don't care. The intent is most important. The impact itself is not that important. If you don't understand, it's not my fault, it's your fault that you don't understand. So indirect speakers are to the other extreme. So indirect speakers tell the whole story with all of the details and all of the facts because they really want you to understand. And they don't want to slice you. So they will say something like, well, it's true that, but it isn't always true. But it's my opinion, and I'm not always right, that it's so important, but you may not think it's important. And so the message gets lost in all of these, clothing to bumper the impact so that the impact is so important, the intent gets lost. So the message is not there. So the good news is there's no blood on the ground. The good news is there's no blood on the ground. The bad news is, right? Or if an indirect is talking to a direct, the direct person is like, you can just see it in their eyes, right? Have you ever tried not to roll your eyeballs when somebody's talking to you and you're just like, try not to look at your watch, or we're looking at your watch if you're rude. So the two extremes. Now, nobody is actually that extreme for this, but usually people are to one side or the other. When you're a host, you definitely want to be more to the direct. And the tool that I use is, what is the headline? So every 15 minutes, so we divide the show up into 4 quarters, right? So you have your 2-minute intro, and then you have your introduction to your guest, right? And then you start with your guest. And so in that quarter, what is the main point? What is the main point? So you have a main point for your first quarter, you have a main point for your second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, okay? Because when you do a show at CNBC, NBC, News Radio, KCAA, we're a news radio station. So at the top of the hour, you're going to have the news. That's why we didn't start till 6 after. And then the quarter, we're doing it a little differently today because I asked them, just because we're learning all this other stuff for you, and I've got 2 newbies on here, to not do the regular. So we get to go all the way through without commercials, but it's not going to happen again. So, what is that main idea that you want to come across? So let's try it. So your first show is going to be about what?
Sarah or myself?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I would say ladies first, but I did go first the last time. Or you did go first the last time. What my show is going to be about?
Yeah. No. So what, okay, let's say you're designing your first show.
Yes.
What were you thinking? Not what were you thinking?
I know, right?
Yeah. But what are you thinking? Tone, pitch, and volume, right?
Yeah, I guess what I was thinking was to be able to share a message about identity and purpose, and being able to reconnect with who you are so you can thrive with who you are going to be in that, So if that answers the question.
Yes and no. So,
okay.
So the question that I asked you to prepare is, what is in it for them? So what are your listeners going to get out of listening to your first show? So this is also a really good way to design and produce. You're producing, I'm the host and producer of this show. Because I'm such a control freak, I don't want anybody to tell me what I should be talking about or doing. So by default, I am the producer. So what, as your producer, I'm asking you, let's say if I'm your producer, Penny, what is someone going to walk away from this show knowing, right? Because that's how you back into a show. So what do you want them to walk away with?
Well, I got to tell you, I would love for them to walk away with a bit of empowerment, with that bit of spark back, that realization that they are not lost. They're right where they should be, in the middle of the pivot. It's just a matter of recognizing the power that they never lost, that they can apply to this new thing that they're after in their lives.
And how are you going to do that?
I'm going to share tips and strategies and stories through interviews and through my own perspective of what I've been through, so they can take that and reflect, as well as just kind of have some of those aha moments along the way, to where they can have literal breakthroughs, so they can, again, take ownership of themselves again.
So are you going to be able to do this in the span of an hour show, or a 54-minute show?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you are, what's in it for them is, if they listen to the show, they're going to watch you work with someone, and through that show, help that person pivot using some tools that they can use at home to be able to do the same thing with their own lives, so that they're not going to feel so lost during this time. Is that about right?
I would say that working with people that are at that pivotal crossroads, as well as people that have been able to overcome already, so we can kind of model the masters of people like myself that's been able to kind of find it immediately and quickly and pivot with purpose, as opposed to, sit in that kind of victimhood of it all, So yeah, absolutely. That sounds great.
Yeah. So my suggestion then is to bring someone on who you've worked with, who isn't starting from where they are, but use them as an example and take the audience back to where that person was. And so, when I met you, what were you going through? What were you feeling? And that person would share his story of where he was. And then you would say, so you're really not the host of this show. You are like a co-partner with that person to describe the process and the tools that you used in going through that. So I think that would be a good first show, like an introduction to, this is who I am, this is what happened. And I might even break that show in two, because again, this is coaching from experience of doing it the wrong way. That it's one thing for a host to talk through the entire hour and not have guests, which is what I had guests, but again, you want to share your story, but you want to engage. So
Certainly.
Maybe your first half hour or 23, 24 minutes is, this is my story. This is where I was. This is what happened. And this is the major tool I used to get it out. And in the second half, we're going to have a client of mine come in and share his pivot point and what he did. So that would be my first show coaching design for you.
I like that. It's definitely would be a discovery process each show. I mean, even discovering multiple times throughout my own life where I've had to pivot and made the wrong choices, but been able to kind of always get back on track. So it's definitely the ability to kind of reflect on both individual and someone else, and help kind of ask those questions to be able to discover and kind of give the audience their ability to kind of like discover with us, as opposed to kind of talking on that pedestal,
Exactly. Great.
Awesome.
Sara.
Awesome. So for my first show, I really want to dive deep into energy and talk about what it is from a scientific level, but all the way to what's going on in the universe. So for example, tuning in, pretending today was my show, before I bring on a guest, I would talk about, right now we have infinite possibilities, and what that could feel like is a little bit of overwhelmed. Maybe you're, going through a jungle trying to find the next branch to grab onto, and that could cause some overwhelm. So what are some tools you can use today, and going into what that could look like? For example, going on a walk, just in the neighborhood could be a great way to just reset. And, you know, maybe it's a different direction that you normally don't go. Maybe it's a whole new route. Maybe it's a neighborhood. Maybe you drive to a new neighborhood and just walk around for a little bit, whatever that is, just to clear the mind, shift your energy up. And then I would go a little bit deeper into that, bring on a guest and talk about the energy, how they're relating to it, and what tool they're using that maybe I didn't mention earlier. So for the first energy, I want to categorize it. So the first week I have a guest lined up. She is, I call her my twin healer. She's in her she would kill me if you heard that. She's in her early 70s. And she is a sister from another mister, but also an energy healer and has been in this work for 40 years. We used to partner at Energy House to do different workshops to teach people about their chakras and their different energies. So having her come on, we've been working with a new technology that uses Nikola Tesla energy and talking about frequencies and healing and using new tools, especially at her age and her journey with integrating technology into her ancient wisdom. So that's my vision for the first show. Did I just take over everything? I'm like, what happened?
I did let out because I was playing with the frames. I have to do that. I wanted to give you the spotlight.
I was like, oh, hey. Yeah.
Great. So,
and then I have other shows lined up, but that is really where the first one feels really exciting. And, you know, to kind of piggyback to the Auditions is really going into energy and setting that foundation of my relationship to when I speak about energy. What does that really mean? And making it more relatable for everyone, not just people who are, you know, maybe call woo-woo or spiritual. You know, we're all energetic beings. We have, you know, on average, 70 trillion cells working with us all the time. So let's learn to master those all around us and enjoy life.
I like that last part so much. I think that should be like right up front.
Yeah.
For the people that are just about to turn you off.
Yeah.
You're talking a little too woo-woo. Catch them right at the beginning.
Yep.
This is really not woo-woo. If you think about it, we have 1 trillion cells. So move that right to the front so that you have them. And then they can stay with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Good. I also like the starting off with your energy tip of the week.
Yep.
So that also sort of frames your show so that they also can hear that it isn't it is very relatable. That it is relatable so that, you know, what do I mean when I talk about energy? I'm talking about walking around the neighborhood. So that's your energy tip for this week. And I want to hear where you walked next week. Okay? So there's some interaction. We have the capacity now to have interaction. Before, in the old days of radio, we just shot out. And that was me. And now I have to juggle comments and all the stuff that's going on. But it does make it more interesting. It's interactive, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's see. I got to watch my time. Oh, my goodness. It's 3:54. How the heck did that happen? And we didn't have a commercial. So
having fun.
Huh? Pardon?
Having
fun, exactly. So did I cover all the questions that I gave you? Your target audience. Oh, target audience.
Yeah.
Breathing, people that are breathing.
Yeah, right. Do they have ears?
Yeah.
Here on Earth. If you're here on Earth.
On the client. Yeah. I mean, I think I would, that's why I wanted you, Kenny, to use the musicians right off the bat, because it's a nice microcosm of people who are like, wow, and then we'll listen more, right? And
oh, yeah, certainly.
Yeah. And
certainly.
Same with Sara. there is a lot of people doing holistic and Reiki and all of that. So I always come from, I'm a bridge, and I purposely want to appeal for more rather than less. But there's nothing wrong with appealing to that particular. We have Kimberly Meredith, who does psychic work. So there's all kinds. It's up to you who you want to target. And for both of you, maybe the target is more particular when you're starting out. So yeah, perfect. So any questions for me before I set you loose to mark and schedule your 4 weeks on the air and your time slots?
Any tips for a sign off?
Sign off? Okay.
Yeah. Like when you sign off, like now that it's like, follow me, like you can name all the things. There's so many ways to connect. So any tips on that?
Sure. So I usually say, which you all know, this is Dr. Marissa reporting live, only because I do red carpet stuff. So you can say, this is Sara Wong broadcasting live from KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, or you don't even have to do the call numbers. Let me take that back. So for the short one, it would be, hi, my name is Kenny Barnwell, and I am your host. I'm the host of Pivot, blah, 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 blah. And I'm broadcasting from KCAA, the radio station that leaves no listener behind. And I will, I say, have the best day ever, or choose happiness. So you pick your something. It's all about energy. You get to pick your little thing, right? And you get to pick your little thing. You know, make sure you pivot to the most positive place you can be today. You get to make that up, but be consistent with it so you're known for it. You know, I'm known for this: peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. And I say that every time, no matter what. And then I say, and then have the best day ever. Signing up. So that can be a sign off. It's whatever you want to say. You can put music behind it. You can actually put it on a video and play it on the video. I usually have my own music that plays at the very end, one of my original songs. So you get to pick whatever you want. But the little branding is super important at the end. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. And Kenny?
I don't believe so. No, I think that was a nice button there at the end to be able to use. So just kind of got the wheels spinning, you know? Yeah.
It's all about that. So I am going to play for my outro a little sizzle that I wanted to just go out with for a change. So thank you so much for joining me today. This is Marissa with the two winners of the debut, the host. Go sign up on www.nbcradionews.com. We're doing the next set for February the 4th at 4 p.m. And we'll have another audition for you. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get happy, get balanced with Dr. Marissa. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Have the best day ever.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.